यहाँ पे रवीश कुमार एक प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस कर रहे हैं, आइए सुनते हैं.
That's what I'm saying. You see, but there has been no statement from Pakistan confirming that they have closed it. What we understand is there was a notam which was issued for diversion of certain sectors or certain routes temporarily, and that reason that I think is something which Pakistan has to share. Somebody asked me about a letter which was written by the Minister of Human Rights. Are you talking about the Minister of Human Rights letter, Shirin Mazari? Yes, I think, basically there are two separate things. One is a letter which is written by Shirin Mazari, Minister to the... frankly, I do not want to lend any credence to the letter by reacting to it. Let me put it very simply that the letter is not even worth the paper on which it is written upon. On the reports about some intrusion, I think you mentioned about some intrusion about Pakistani commandos in the Kutch area. I do not have any information in this regard. I think you have to ask the relevant authorities. I can only say that our security forces are always prepared to deal with any eventuality. On some international organizations trying to tell us how we should conduct our matters, we have indeed seen statements coming from few organizations on the human rights situation in Jammu and Kashmir. We completely reject such unsubstantiated statements. These are not based on facts. The facts are being presented on a regular basis by the district administration in Jammu and Kashmir. Yesterday, you must have seen the press statement by the governor of Jammu and Kashmir. And I will take this opportunity to highlight some of the important steps or important measures which he has announced. He announced that 50,000 vacancies will be filled up in government departments. There was an announcement of a minimum support price for the apple crop. And in this context, it was mentioned that NAFED has agreed, has committed 5,000 crores for procuring 50% of the apple production of the state. You are aware that the mobile phones have been opened in 10 districts of Jammu, 10 districts of Jammu as well as in the entire revenue districts of Kupwara and Handwara in the Kashmir Valley. You are aware that the landlines have been operating in Jammu and Ladakh. We have announced a phased opening up of landlines in the valley. There are certain manual interventions which are required, and that is the reason why it may take some time. The government has also announced that it would ensure the preservation and protection of the heritage, language, and identity of the region. To take the democracy to the grassroots, it was also announced that the election to the block development councils would be completed by October. In terms of the restrictions which have been imposed and which people are talking about, out of 197 police stations, there are no daytime restrictions in 167. This is all over Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. If I talk about Kashmir, out of 111 police stations, there are no daytime restrictions in 81 out of 111 police stations. So if you take the overall figure, we are looking at 85% of the police stations without any daytime restrictions. On education, 3,000 primary schools and 1,000 middle schools, they are functional. Yesterday, the governor also announced that high schools would open very soon. Banking and ATM facilities are operating normally. I would also like to take this opportunity to, through the Jammu and Kashmir administration, to rebut some reports in the media about shortage of essential drugs. It is a false report. We have reports from different hospitals in the valley. We have seen the stocks of various life-saving drugs, and not even in one instance any hospital has reported shortage of drugs or disposable items. This has been made very clear by the Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh government through a press release. The local government is handling the situation with maturity and restraint. Not a single life has been lost. Not a single live bullet has been fired. The administration is putting all resources necessary to ensure that normalcy returns to the state as soon as possible. And we have noticed, if you take a look at the situation on the 5th and now, there has been a gradual but a positive improvement in the situation on the ground. Let us not compare the situation there with the situation in other parts of the country. Even in a situation which predates the 5th August, things were not normal to the extent where you can compare it to other cities in the country. But there is a commitment. There is also a commitment that the lives should not be lost, and that is what the government of the state government of Jammu and Kashmir is working towards. Is there any other question which I left out? Any other? नहीं, देखिए उसमें ऐसा है, airspace used by the Prime Minister, right? You see, the airspace has not been closed. Now, whenever you have to travel, whenever there is a VVIP visit traveling out of the country, you basically ask for route permission. Now, the route permission is sought. And when you seek the route permission, you can only travel once you have received the route permission from all the countries which fall on the way. So it's a very simple answer to your question. Sinjoy?
Sir, you would have seen the US Congress report, which says very clearly that the PTI was elected because of a nexus between the military of Pakistan and the judiciary. And also that he's really a puppet, the Prime Minister, and it's the military that has all the power. I mean, not something that you have not said, but we would like a reaction on that. Any further movement on Kulbhushan Jadhav?
Okay. I think the second one is much simpler. I can only tell you that, look, we are in touch with the Pakistani side through diplomatic channels. You are aware that based on the judgment of the International Court of Justice, we have asked for unimpeded full and access to Mr. Jadhav. And the two sides, we do remain in touch, and let's see the kind of response we receive from the Pakistani side. Yes, I think immediate, effective, and unhindered consular access. That is what we have requested for. No, look, Pranay, as I mentioned last time as well, that on this matter there is some communication which is going back and forth through the diplomatic channels. Last time I also mentioned that it may not be proper for me to divulge the kind of communication which is going on. You know what? This is something which I think you guys have been writing and doing. I would not like to comment on that. Ji.
सर अमूमन आप इंटरनल सिक्योरिटी पर कुछ नहीं बोलते हैं, लेकिन जैसा कि हम लोग देख रहे हैं कि एक तरफ पाकिस्तान प्रोपेगेंडा में लगा हुआ है, वहीं ये भी खबरें आ रही है कि वो घुसपैठ अलग अलग जरिए अलग अलग सीमा से करने की कोशिश करता है. आईबी के अलर्ट है कि गुजरात में भी घुसपैठ करा रहा है, कश्मीर को डिस्टर्ब कर ही रहा है. इस पर अगर आप कुछ कहना चाहें.
देखिए, हमें पता है और हम काफ़ी सालों से बोल रहे हैं कि पाकिस्तान जो है आतंकवाद को एक स्टेट पॉलिसी की तरह यूज़ करता है, और हर बार जब भी हमें मौका मिला है हमने उनको इस बारे में अवगत कराया है कि हमारे कंसर्न्स क्या हैं. ये आपकी बात बिल्कुल सही है कि हमें खबर मिली है कि पाकिस्तान ये कोशिश कर रहा है आतंकवादियों को इन्फिल्ट्रेट कराने का। और हम तो यही डिमांड करेंगे जो इंटरनेशनल कम्युनिटी डिमांड करती है और जो उनका इंटरनेशनल ऑब्लिगेशन बनता भी है कि जो आतंकवादी गुट, आतंकवादी संगठन और आतंकवादी वहाँ हैं, उनके खिलाफ पाकिस्तान कार्रवाई करे, ठोस कार्रवाई करे, और जैसा हमने कहा है ऐसी कार्रवाई करे जिससे वो दोबारा वापस ना आ सके और दोबारा क्रॉस बॉर्डर टेररिज्म की जो हम बात करते हैं वो उनकी तरफ से ना हो पाए। You see, we are all aware that Pakistan has been using terrorism and cross-border terrorism as an instrument of its state policy. We have continued to highlight our concerns in this regard with them. Pakistan has an obligation to fulfill, and take action against terrorist and terror groups operating from its soil. And also it is important for them to now start behaving like a normal neighbor. What do the normal neighbors do? You don't push terrorists into a neighboring country. You do normal talk, you do normal trade. But this is not something which is happening from Pakistan. I think we would like them to behave what a normal neighbor should do in such circumstances. When through geography we happen to be immediate neighbors. Nanima?
Sir, post Prime Minister Modi's meeting with President Trump, has there been any sort of movement on when the 2+2 ministerial will take place? I know the intersessional session just has happened, but any confirmation on the 2+2 ministerial dialogue?
Not at this stage. You see, you are aware that what got discussed in the meeting between Prime Minister and President Trump, the highlight of the discussion was on energy security, energy and trade. We discussed that the meeting of the trade ministers should take place as soon as possible. That we are working at, and as and when we make some movement, we will let you know. I do not have any information about the 2+2, especially the date when it is going to take place.
Manish Shah from Business World. Sir, Iran Foreign Minister was in G7 summit. Was there any exchange or with Prime Minister Modi, any sort of dialogue happened on the sidelines with Iran Foreign Minister?
No, I'm not aware of any dialogue. You are aware that the format of the G7 and even the extended session, it includes only the leaders of the countries. Invitation to Iran, if I understand correctly, was extended by France. And there was some session which may have been held, but India was not part of those sessions.
Yeah, thank you.
Geeta?
तो ये विदेश मंत्रालय के प्रवक्ता थे, बता रहे थे कि किस तरह से जो पाकिस्तान का रवैया रहा है उसकी निंदा की है कश्मीर के बाद जो बयानात वहाँ से आए हैं। तमाम चीज़ें जो कल राज्यपाल ने घोषणाएं की, 50,000 नौकरियों की और तमाम सहूलियतों की, वो बात दोहराई है, लेकिन खास बात इन्होंने ये भी कही है कि किस तरह से कश्मीर में अगर 111 पुलिस स्टेशन है तो 81 पुलिस स्टेशन में डे टाइम रिस्ट्रिक्शन नहीं है। एक तरह से ये अंतर्राष्ट्रीय मनोरंजन आप कैसे समझते हैं? क्या एक अंतर्राष्ट्रीय बिरादरी को ये संदेश है और उनको ये जानकारी देना है कि विदेश मंत्रालय भी किस तरह से जानकारी दे रहा है?